Now, in the UK, my natural habitat, you are able to learn to drive at the age of 17. That awkward stage of human existence where you're being harassed by the puberty troll. You can't drink alcohol and potentially kill your brain cells and disintegrate your liver, but you can be in control of a deadly machine with the ability to Carmageddon your surrounding neighbourhood. Being able to drive was a big deal for me and my friends. This was round about the time that Fast and Furious was all the rage, so we believed we would be cool drag racing babe magnets, pulling off unimaginable car stunts and then going home to our parents and eating chicken nuggets and chips. Really gangster lifestyle. When I had my first lesson, needless to say, I was not handbrake turning and drifting around corners. The fact I was able to go in a straight line and stop was a miracle. But after loads of lessons, I was able to book my driving test, where you drive around and are judged on every single little move you make. So naturally, this will be the time where your brain, similar to an exam, goes, "What's that? You need to remember everything. Haha, that's nice. I'm going to sleep for the duration. You're on your own, buddy." So the day of my test finally arrived. I'd managed to get through a thing called hazard perception, which was the task of clicking a mouse every time a wild moose ran out in front of your digital car, which must have been filmed about 60 years ago due to the shocking quality of the video footage. Now I just had to hope that I got someone marking me who didn't hate me. Lucky for me, I got a guy who seemed to love life and everything in it. So we started driving around. He would then ask me to turn left, for example. I would, and then he would say,
"Thank you very much. Now turn right. Thank you so much."
Now this carried on throughout the entire lesson. He was the most grateful person I have ever met. As we were driving around, we were just talking. We made typical small talk. He was in the middle of telling me about his recent big fishing trip.
There I was, in the middle of the lake, primed like a tiger, waiting to pounce, when the biggest fish you've ever seen comes flying out of the water.
And then in the middle of the sentence, it all went quiet. I presumed he was taking detailed notes about my driving, so I took a little cheeky look, just to check. He was asleep. Now I don't mean his eyes were a little bit closed, he was fully knocked out. I would have pulled over, called an ambulance, as my driving may have caused him to have a silent heart attack, if it wasn't for the little snore and the bottom lip flapping about. After about 10 minutes, I then heard,
Slaps me right in the face with its slimy body, landed back in the water and swam away. Oh, if you wouldn't mind turning right? I do apologize. I may have drifted off there. It's the last test of the day and I am beat.
We arrived back at the test centre where you then usually parallel park. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically reversing into a parking spot. He said, however,
"Just drive in straight."
What? Now, I had never actually done that, as they teach you to parallel park, because they tell you it's on every single test. So after a bit of hesitation, I swung the car in between the lines and stopped the car. I did not realise until my instructor, who was onlooking, said, "Check the space between you and the fence." I could not fit my little finger between the gap any more, and I would have smashed straight into the fence and failed. Whew! Lucky escape. Now, I was still expecting the examiner to get out of the car and walk off, but that wasn't the case. He pulled out a piece of paper, and it was a pass certificate. And then he uttered the words,
"Jolly good driving. All the best."
So, I passed my driving test the first time. I put that down to my super smooth driving that rocked my examiner to sleep. Others may disagree and say I was super lucky having an examiner who was exhausted. Either way, I'd passed, so it didn't matter. And now, I could go out and purchase a super banging automobile, which I will explain in another video. So I just wanted to say thank you to me and myself for voicing the instructor in my little animation. Also, thank you to the people that sent me fan art on Twitter. As you can see it scrolling across the screen now as your moment of fame arrives. Ta-da! Oh dear. It is crazy. I never expected anyone to do fan art of me, and you guys are super awesome, super creative, and it's great. I never thought this would happen. However, due to the amount of fan art that there is, I am having to now fill the space with me waffling, but I think we have now gotten to the end. I hope you enjoyed it, and that's the end. That's the end, right? There we go. Okay, we're done. See you later.